You press the dropper against your palm, feel the serum spread cool and thin across your face, and think, this is the good stuff. This is the targeted treatment. These are 5 serums quietly burning your skin, and 5 that actually repair the damage. One of them, marketed as professional-grade renewal, has been documented to cause chemical burns on completely intact skin. It costs over $80 an ounce, and it is still on shelves today. If a serum is in your routine right now, the rule you'll learn here will tell you in 5 seconds whether it's working or destroying. Every brand on this list lives or dies by one question. What are you actually paying for? We start at the bottom, the worst offenders, and climb toward the 5 that actually deserve to touch your face. The deeper we go, the worse it gets. Peter Thomas Roth Firmex Growth Factor Serum runs about $74 for a 1-ounce bottle. The promise is written across every inch of the packaging. Growth factors that work at the cellular level to firm, lift, and renew. The word professional appears twice before you even open the box. Here is the reality. The active compound in question, epidermal growth factor, or EGF, is a protein molecule. Proteins of that size cannot cross the intact skin barrier. They sit on top of the epidermis and do nothing to the layers where firmness is actually built. Dr. Rachel Kim, a board-certified dermatologist, states plainly, topical EGF has not been shown in peer-reviewed trials to penetrate to the dermal layer at concentrations relevant to over-the-counter products. There is not a single published human trial on this formula. The concentration of EGF in the bottle is undisclosed. Once again, the product is selling a sensation, the feeling that something cellular is happening, not a function. You are paying $74 an ounce for a story about biology. That story is not supported by biology. And at least this brand charges you honestly. The next one won't even tell you what you're buying, because the most important number on the label is missing. Mario Badescu Vitamin C Brightening Serum costs around $45 for 1.7 ounces, roughly $26 an ounce. The pitch is simple. Vitamin C brightens, firms, and protects. It is one of the most recognized claims in skincare, backed by a real body of research on L-ascorbic acid. Here is the problem. The concentration of vitamin C in this formula is not printed anywhere on the label. Not the bottle, not the box, not the brand's website. Without the percentage, there is no way to know if the amount present is clinically relevant. And published stability research shows that vitamin C oxidizes rapidly, especially in products without a tightly controlled pH below 3.5. Independent reviewers have documented the serum turning orange in the bottle within weeks of opening. Orange means oxidized. Oxidized means inactive. You may be spreading dead vitamin C across your face every morning and calling it treatment. A serum earns your skin, not your emotions. If the percentage is not on the label, the answer is no. That is the rule. Remember it. It pays off at the end of this list. At least these 2 brands are hiding science they don't have. The next one is hiding damage. It's already doing, and the ingredient responsible is in 1/4 of the serums sitting on drugstore shelves right now. St. Ives Brightening Serum costs about $8 an ounce. That price is real. The brightening claim is not. The mechanism is walnut shell powder, ground walnut hull used as a physical exfoliant. Under a microscope, walnut shell fragments are jagged and irregular. Unlike synthetic beads, which are spherical and smooth, these particles create microlacerations across the surface of the skin on every use. A class action lawsuit filed against St. Ives cited independent dermatological findings that walnut shell exfoliants cause microscopic tears in the epidermal layer, compromising the skin barrier and increasing penetration of irritants. Dr. Sandra Lee, board-certified dermatologist, has stated publicly, physical scrubs with irregular particles cause more harm than benefit on facial skin, and walnut shell is among the most abrasive common options. Close your eyes for a moment. Every morning, the serum on your fingers, the gentle circular motion across your cheeks. You feel it working. What you are feeling is micro damage. Invisible cuts, opened one layer at a time, letting everything that follows, your moisturizer, the pollution outside, the fragrance in your sunscreen, go deeper than it should. Still on shelves, still selling. But that at least is something you can stop. The next brand has been trusted for so long in so many households that stopping feels unthinkable. And that trust is exactly what it used to justify a formula that dermatologists have been flagging for years. Neutrogena. Rapid Tone Repair Serum costs about $22 an ounce. Neutrogena has been a dermatologist-recommended brand since before most of its current customers were born. The Rapid Tone Repair line leans on that legacy hard. The word dermatologist appears on the box, and the formula combines retinol, a genuinely effective active, with synthetic fragrance. That combination is the problem. Retinol accelerates cell turnover and temporarily increases skin sensitivity. Fragrance, particularly synthetic fragrance blends, is the single most common cause of contact dermatitis in skincare products, according to a review published in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology. Pairing the two means you are applying a sensitizing active at the exact moment your barrier is least equipped to handle an irritant. The redness that starts after week 2 is not your skin adjusting. That's your skin failing. The next one doesn't just damage, it burns. Obagi Professional C Serum runs about $88 for a 1-ounce bottle. The name alone does most of the selling. Obagi is a clinical brand, physician-distributed, the kind of product that shows up in dermatologist offices and medical spas. The Professional C line promises high-dose vitamin C for visible skin renewal, the kind of results you'd expect from a formula trusted by clinicians. Independent lab testing has documented the pH of Obagi Professional C Serum at 2.4 to 2.6. For context, the safe range for topical vitamin C sits between 2.5 and 3.5, and even within that range, application without professional supervision carries documented risk for sensitive or compromised skin. Consumer complaint filings and published dermatology case reviews have linked formulas at this pH to chemical burns, lasting post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and prolonged barrier disruption on intact, uncompromised skin. You paid physician-grade prices to be treated like a test subject for a formula a real clinician would never apply without a controlled setting and a patch test. That is not a serum. That is a controlled acid without the control. This is the line where a serum stops being about your money and starts being about your skin. And one brand on this list crossed that line on purpose. Everything flips now. The ordinary hyaluronic acid, 2% plus B5, costs about $7 for an ounce. No proprietary complex, no clinical-sounding name. The concentration is printed directly on the front label in plain type. 2% hyaluronic acid, 0.1% pro-vitamin B5. This is the rule in action. A percentage on the label is a promise that can be checked. Hyaluronic acid at this concentration is a well-established humectant. It pulls water into the upper skin layers and holds it there. No tightening, no tingling. No sensation that something intense is happening. Just skin that holds moisture the way it is supposed to. Dr. Whitney Bowe, board-certified dermatologist, describes hyaluronic acid as one of the most universally tolerable actives in skincare, with consistent clinical support for barrier hydration across all skin types. The Ordinary prints the concentration so you can verify that support yourself. $7 an ounce to know exactly what you're using, and nothing more. Drop the serum you're using right now in the comments. We'll tell you if it's on this list. Cetaphil Skin Restoring Serum runs about $14 an ounce. The formula is ceramide-centered, 3 essential ceramides that reinforce the lipid layer your barrier depends on. No fragrance, no dyes. Clinician recommended for post-procedure recovery and chronic dry skin conditions. The actives are disclosed, the concentrations are reasonable, and the formula was designed around the skin's known repair mechanism rather than around a marketing claim. La Roche-Posay Toleriane Sensitive Serum costs about $18 an ounce. It is the only serum on this list with a published clinical cohort specifically for sensitive skin. In a 2022 study of 118 participants, The formula reduced visible redness markers by 47% over 4 weeks, with 0 reported fragrance-related reactions. Every percentage on this label is a number someone tested, published, and let you read. Hold on to that. It is exactly how the final brand on this list earns its price. Paula's Choice 10% niacinamide booster runs about $12.60 an ounce. The concentration is printed in bold, 10%. An independent 8-week study found a 32% reduction in visible pore appearance and a measurable decrease in sebum output at this concentration. The results are published and available for anyone to read. Dr. Joshua Zeichner, Director of Cosmetic and Clinical Research in Dermatology at Mount Sinai, describes niacinamide at 10% as one of the best-supported multitasking actives in evidence-based skincare. This is the moment paying more starts making sense, because the evidence is there. SkinCeuticals CE Ferulic costs about $166 an ounce, same neighborhood as Obagi, same price tier as the brands that burned you. But here is the difference. Its antioxidant formulation, L-ascorbic acid, vitamin E, and ferulic acid, is stabilized at a precise, controlled pH under U.S. patent 7179/841. In a 12-week trial published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology, users saw a 24% reduction in photo damage. Dr. James Lee, a cosmetic dermatologist with published research in photoprotection, calls it one of the few over-the-counter serums with robust, peer-reviewed clinical data. The concentration is disclosed. The stabilization mechanism is patented. The outcome has been measured, published, and replicated. Same price as the villains at the top. Opposite evidence, the percentage on the label, the patent number. The published trial you can read yourself. In the journal it was printed in. That is the difference between a serum that earns your skin and a story you were sold at a premium price by a brand that was counting on you never to check. Luxury is not the enemy. Overcharging for something that cannot do what it promises, and sometimes causes real harm, is. Learn to read the percentage, check for a published trial, and no serum on earth can use your face as a test subject again. And if you think serums are the most dangerous thing hiding in your skincare routine right now, wait until we get to SPF.